start our meeting tonight. Would everybody please stand with us for a moment of silence in the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mrs. Sharpshire?
God of wisdom, we seek your help today. Come and let your wisdom fall upon us, O Lord, as we gather for this meeting. Give us clarity so that we can effectively tackle each part of today's agenda. Reveal problem areas and show us the best solution that will apply. Point our eyes to every positive outcome since our last meeting, and let these favorable results and developments encourage every heart in this room. Dear God, help us apply our wisdom as we decide on certain matters and make plans. This we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All may be seated. Approval of the minutes. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Can we do roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Tankersley?
Here.
Mrs. Sharpshire?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
I'm still here.
Okay, Mr. Lovett?
Here.
Okay, Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mrs. Knight?
Here.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
And President Coulter is absent with notice.
Now, can we do approval of the minutes? Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of the last meeting? Anybody? All right, seeing none of the minutes, will stand approved and written and distributed. Reports and communications?
Thank you.
Mayor Hardman.
Mr. Lovett, would you join me up front? And Chief, would you come on? Chief Sunderman, come on down. All right, it's always, you guys are all here because there's such wonderful things happening at City Council tonight. We got great legislation happening, right? That's why you're all here, right? Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're all here because we're going to swear at a couple of wonderful folks who have been part of our fire department. And you know, the way it works around here is they've actually been with us for a little while. We're very glad to have them, but now we get to actually formally swear them in as members of our department. But before we get to those 8 folks, we have a promotion that we are going to swear in first, and that is Cody Bookman. Cody, come on down. Good evening, sir. So this is Cody, standing right here for me, sir. Wow, it's just going off all over the place, isn't it? We're not going to have anybody left by the time we're done here. They're all out working. Cody began his fire service career part-time with the city of Sharonville and the city of Fairfield in 2014. In 2017, he earned his paramedic certification and then was hired full-time with the Sharonville Fire Department in 2018. He has attended numerous classes and trainings to hone his skill set as a firefighter paramedic. Cody and his wife Avery have 2 children, Henry and Josephine, and are expecting a third any time now, hopefully not within the next hour. Although there's plenty of folks to take care of it if it happens, right? He enjoys spending his off time with his family and going hunting, and he's looking forward to beginning gardening and raising chickens. You know, Cody has been a part of Cody comes from a long history with the city of Sharonville. His dad having served in public service and retired from us in the police department. We are super glad to have you. Had you with us for so long, super glad to be able to swear you in and promote you into this new role as lieutenant. I will take that because it has all those words I have to say. So if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I,
State your name.
Cody Bookman,
Do
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
and the city of Sharonville,
and the city of Sharonville,
that I will honestly and faithfully
and that I will honestly and faithfully
discharge the duties
of
the office of lieutenant,
of the office of lieutenant,
to which I have been appointed
according to law,
to
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations,
Thank
Cody.
you.
Thanks for your continued
Appreciate it.
service.
Thank you.
His wife is going to come up and pin him.
Ah, That's right. We have new badges, all that fun stuff. So it's Avery, right? She's going to come up and stick you. That's the fun part. Congratulations. All right. You'll go down there, make your way down the line. They all want to say congratulations. You can take her with you. That makes it all that much better. You can go too if you want, Avery. You all want to help congratulate you. Don't overexert yourself. We don't want to have it. That is yours too, sir. All right, don't go far, because after we do these next 8, we'll take a little break and let you all get pictures and all that kind of stuff. So 8, yes, we have 8 wonderful folks that have joined us within the last 6 months or so here as full-time folks in the Sharonville Police Fire Department. So we're going to bring them on up. Chris Pedke, you're first. Chris, come on down. Chris, am I getting that last name right? Pedke? All right, I did get it right. Look at that. All right, amazing. Chris Pedke became a firefighter and EMT in 2016. He became a paramedic in 2020, and he joined us here in the Sharonville Fire Department as a part-time member in 2018. He later transferred his full-time employment from the Reading Fire Department to Sharonville here in March of last year. He's a member of the Greater Cincinnati Hazmat Team as a hazmat technician. Let's see, who's with you tonight?
My wife, Ashley, and my 2 kids.
Ashley and Liam and Holden,
Yes.
right? And where are they?
One's right there. The other's over there with my mom.
That, you know what? It only gets worse from there. Keep the kids separated usually helps.
He was the one screaming.
Oh, that's all right. That doesn't change either. Congratulations, Chris. Glad to have you. If you will stand right there, and we will introduce. It's like the dating game. So if there's one that you want, you just choose at the end of the night. They're all taken, though, I think. Caitlin Sims. Caitlin, come on down. Caitlin's on a run. All right, we'll swear her in some other. Does Caitlin have family with us tonight? Why, hi, guys. How are you? All right. Well, she's busy working, and that's what's amazing about it. So I'm going to talk about Caitlin. So Caitlin started her career with us as a part-time paramedic. In August of this year, she was hired on as a full-time firefighter paramedic. She's been a paramedic since 2012. She's worked for Butler Township in the Franklin Fire Department. She has 2 daughters, Charlotte and Blake, right? Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Blake. Thanks for coming out tonight. Your mommy's doing a great job. She's out there doing a great job, and that's what she's doing, so we thank her for that. Molly Codman. Molly, come on down. Good evening. How are you? I'm great. Stand right here. This is Molly Codman. She grew up in Lorain, Ohio, where she spent most of her summers on beautiful Lake Erie. She moved here to Cincinnati 5 years ago to attend Miami University. She graduated last spring with her bachelor's in biomedical engineering while attending the Fire Academy at Sinclair Community College. She's currently enrolled in a paramedic program through Sinclair and plans to graduate this December. She has been in the fire service for over a year and plans to continue her career through various trainings and certifications. In her free time, she enjoys going on hikes, traveling, and doing CrossFit. So don't mess with Molly, is the bottom line message out of that. Molly, other than your fire department family, anyone else here with you tonight?
My boyfriend, Tyler.
Tyler, where are you, Tyler? Glad you could be with us. Thank you very much. Molly, step right back there next to Chris. That's right. Caleb Sales. Caleb, come on down, sir. Right here, if you don't mind. Turn around, smile pretty, wave to the audience. Caleb was born and raised in Cincinnati. He grew up in Reading. He attended Reading High School for 2 years prior to transferring to and graduating from Scarlet Oaks in 2022. He graduated at the top of his class with full firefighter certifications and began volunteering at Green Hills Fire Department in January of that year. He also held part-time positions at Reading and Sycamore Township Fire Departments. He is currently in the paramedic program at Cincinnati State and is slated to graduate in August. In his free time, he enjoys fitness and traveling with his friends. Caleb, who's with you tonight? Because there's big cameras and all that good stuff.
My girlfriend Lydia, friend Ben, father Nick, mother Sheila, sister Emily, grandmother Kathy, and family friend Shirley.
A great crew. Thank you. Caleb, everybody. All right. Over on this side, Caleb. Let's get you all nice and centered here. All right. Robert Hughes. Where are you, Robert? Also on a run. Hey, Robert got family here tonight? Other than his department family? All right. Well, Robert's been in the fire service for 14 years. Spent 12 as a paramedic. He became full-time here at the Sharonville in October of 23. After leaving Springfield Township Fire Department, he spends his free time backpacking, camping, going to sporting events, and spending time with family. I told you it's like a dating profile. Works out perfectly. Andrew Henry. Andrew. Is he also on a run? Does he have friends, family with us tonight? There we go. Hi, gang. Thank you for coming out tonight on Andrew's behalf. He became a firefighter in 19. Started his career as a volunteer firefighter in his hometown of Wellston. He continues his education and received his paramedic in 2022. Joined us here this year in 2024. Enjoys spending time with his family and 2 dogs. And his partner Dean is with us tonight, right? Somewhere, there he is. All right. And other family members. So thank you for coming. And again, we are very appreciative for all that he has done already. And we're sorry that we can't swear at him with you tonight. He still owes you dinner, though, regardless of however it comes about. Eric Morgan. Eric, come on down, sir. Right here, if you don't mind. Eric is a Cincinnati native, grew up in the Pleasant Run Farms area, graduating from Northwest High School in 2009. He then spent the next 4 years serving his country in the United States Marine Corps with the 2nd Tank Battalion. Once a Marine, always a Marine, right, Eric? Always. Eric obtained his firefighter certification in 2016 and paramedic in 2022. He came to us here at the city of Sharonville this year in 2024 after working for the Dayton Fire Department for 7 years. Eric, anyone here tonight to support you?
Fire family.
Your fire family tonight. You got plenty at home, I'm sure. Congratulations, Eric. Thanks for joining us. Alex Bath. Alex, here he comes. Alex has been in the fire service for 5 years. He completed his fire and EMT certifications at Butler Tech and his paramedic certification at Coleraine. He worked at Miami Township and Springfield Township before, it just dawned on him that the best place to be is the city of Sharonville, where he joined us with a full-time position. Prior to his fire service, he was a land construction surveyor, raised in Harrison, Ohio, and graduated high school from Harrison High School in 2009. He spends his free time with family, friends, and his dog, Rhett. His hobbies include sports, working out, or anything outdoors. Anyone with you here tonight? Alex, were you to introduce?
Yeah, got my family sitting right here in the front row. Uncle Brian, my mom, Grandma Meemaw, and then my girlfriend Joanna and my dad.
Awesome. Thank you all for being with us. Congratulations, Alex. It's a busy night in Sharonville for the fire department, apparently. It looks like we have another crew going heading out. Ashley Eller, right? Ashley, come on down. Ashley was born in Dayton, Ohio, where she was raised by her parents, Tim and Teresa, along with her 5 brothers. Wow, 5 brothers, okay. While living in Dayton, she attended Sinclair Community College, majoring in emergency medical services and fire science. After moving to Cincinnati, she started her career in the fire service with Springfield Township Fire Department, where she worked for 5 years. Ashley began working part-time here in Sharonville in 2022, and this year was hired as a lateral transfer. In her free time, Ashley enjoys reading and writing, traveling, hiking, and outdoor photography. Anyone with you here tonight, Ashley?
My mom and dad right there, and then my boyfriend in the back.
Right now, front row up here, back row, whatever you want to go, it works out fine. Congratulations, glad to have you. Let's bring you over here, Ashley, or everybody scooch over this way a little bit, center you up on the wall so everybody can get fun pictures and all that kind of stuff, because we are going to swear you in here. If you all would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio, and the city of Sharonville, and that I will honestly and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of firefighter paramedic to which I have been appointed according to law and to the best of my ability. Congratulations. It's all official and wonderful now, right? All right, if you all don't mind, if you want to go down there to see Mr. Schmidt and start a nice line, this is our initiation that we do. They all want a congratulation. If it's okay with Mr. Lovett, our acting president of council tonight, President Pro Tem, we're going to take a short 5-minute break or so, which is a great time for family to get up here, take wonderful pictures with your friends and with your kids and loved ones, because we want you to be able to do that. You are always welcome to stay for the rest of the council meeting, but you don't have to. Make them take you out to dinner if they're not working, all right?
Chief Sunderman. Just in case anybody's interested, you're here for the fire department anyways, most of you, so let's go ahead and work this one. Thank you, Chief.
Well, I haven't found out a way yet to control the runs that happen in the city of Sharonville, so it is all about timing today. So, well, Mr. Mayor and members of council, thank you for letting us take over chambers tonight. I truly appreciate it. It's great to see all the firefighters here, and hopefully I can continue with the goodness of the night. So the last 2 years at my annual report to council, I really did focus on the people and the special teams and the folks that really make it all happen at the Sharonville Fire Department. And this year I'm taking a much different approach. And one of the reasons is very early this year, I had the opportunity to be with a family friend who had recently been elected to a mayor of a small town in Indiana, and happened to be at an event with him. And in the afternoon and that evening was his first meeting with his fire chief. And so he asked if I was still in the fire service in the Cincinnati area. I said, no, way better than that. I'm in the fire service in Sharonville, Ohio. So let's get that straight. So it turned into a lot of whys, and why do you do this, and why do you do that? And that turned into, well, you guys speak your own language. And in fairness, I've accused some of the attorneys up here in front of me of speaking their own language, so it was fair that it came back on me. And we had a fairly lengthy discussion, and one of my kids who was in the fire service as we were leaving said, Dad, have you ever done that for the people who take care of your city and your department? I thought, well, I think I better do that at the annual report this year. So that's a lot of what I want to cover is the whys, and what are we thinking about, and why are we training so much, and why do we put so many fire trucks on a fire scene, and why do we put so many fire trucks down on the interstate, for example. So I do have a series of videos here, and we'll keep the volume turned down and just kind of give you some of the whys. What are we thinking at the fire department? And sorry, I'm going to make you all turn away from me, but so my ploy has worked perfectly. Thank you. So this first video is from the Underwriter Laboratories. We do a lot of training. We do watch a lot of training videos from the Underwriter Laboratories. They do a lot of good work for the fire service. And on the left-hand side is a legacy room. On the right-hand side is a modern room. So that legacy room is what they're considering what we would normally have seen in about the 1970s, and the modern room is obviously today. And it is the exact same setup. There is a couch, there is a chair, there is a coffee table, there is a lamp, there are curtains, all from the 70s and all from today. And they are going to light a fire in that room on the exact same side. So training, let's talk about what the fire department trains on and what we are looking for when we pull up. First thing we're listening to is our dispatch information. Things like multiple calls, callers across the street, a neighbor calls. Those sorts of things raise red flags for us and might actually get us additional units depending on how good the county thinks that dispatch information is. As soon as we pull up, and now mind you, you're just looking at a single room, but we're pulling up and looking at an entire house or an entire structure. We're immediately looking at the building profile. What type of building construction is it? All of our firefighters are trained in building construction. Some of the things we need, a house that was built in 1970 is going to burn much differently and react much differently to fire load than some of our newer construction homes in Sharonville. And our firefighters need to be able to recognize that. We're obviously thinking about time of day. We're looking in the garage. Are there cars in the garage? Are there cars in the driveway? Again, those things are going to raise red flags. And that is where we are going to set our risk profile, is how much risk are we willing to take at any given fire? And that risk profile is based on those things. Do we have a reasonable expectation that somebody is in that home, and what time of day is it? One of the other things when we train on building construction is most of our firefighters should be able to look at just about every house in the city of Sharonville and make a very reasonable guess as to where the bedrooms are versus the living space. That becomes very important in the middle of the night. A lot of you have heard us talk about the Blue Card command system that we use, and we did have the Blue Card conference here in Sharonville. What does all of that mean? Everybody seems to do fairly well with sport analogy, so we're going to do a sport analogy. That is a command system that we use so that the head coach is speaking the same language as the quarterback, is speaking the same language as the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, all the way down to the center who is snapping the ball. We are all speaking the same language, and that does not just apply to Sharonville, that is across the county. So obviously we count on our county neighbors to help us and vice versa, so we're all speaking the same language. Building construction, we're always thinking about where is the origin of the fire. It is not uncommon that we can pull up and see an attic fire, and it's actually a fire that started in the basement, depending on the type of building construction. As we pull up and we're looking at this, and you can see the modern room, and there is actually a fire in that legacy room if you look carefully, and it is spreading very, very slowly, and this just has to do with the type of materials in home construction. We are reading that smoke. It's not like in the movies. We don't pull up and always see the fire in the building. We do have to go searching for it frequently. It is hidden away in smoke, and that black smoke is acting very turbulent. So our folks are trained to recognize that there is some sort of poly something or another burning. There is some sort of petroleum product burning, and that is going to be the couch, the carpet, the coffee table that used to be made out of solid wood in the legacy room is now made out of particle board in the modern room. That particle board is held together by glue. As that glue starts to break down, it makes that black smoke, and which causes more heat and faster spread of the fires. Those are just all the things that we train on constantly. You know, there are certain things that we have to train on, frankly, because we don't do very often. We have to knock the rust off, and then there are things that we are constantly training on because modern building is changing. Cars are changing, all sorts of those things. So that, hopefully, I'm giving you a little bit of insight to how we all think and why we're doing so much training. This other video, the next three are much shorter. So this is actually a compressed natural gas garbage truck. We have done extensive training on compressed natural gas fires and vehicle fires at the Sharonville Fire Department. There are a bunch of these running up and down the road. A lot of, and not just garbage trucks, these are semis, these are pickup trucks, delivery trucks. Your Frito-Lay truck running up and down the road doing deliveries is now running off of compressed natural gas. Most of our Rumpke trucks that are running up and down the streets of Sharonville are compressed natural gas. Again, very useful product, but in our world, when we see a technology change, the first thing we think about is how does it react under a fire load. And this is a pretty good example that, you know, a garbage truck fire even just 10 years ago would take us one engine and 4 people. We get that thing put out with a tank of water and go about our day. You know, these type situations now become 2, 3, 4 engines and shuttling water because it does take such a long time to cool that natural gas. And to find those cylinders, they're in a different place on every vehicle. So we have to train on various types of vehicles, and so that our folks can recognize that as soon as they pull up. And think back to the legacy room the modern room, and those modern couches and the modern carpet and the modern flooring that does burn more readily. That same material are in the semi-trucks that are driving up and down the interstate all day long. So, you know, again, a simple brake fire on a semi-truck, even just 10 years ago, it would get up into the decking of the truck. One engine, we would put it out. Well, those trucks are now full of the material that you just saw burn in that modern room video, and it tends to take, 2 or 3 fire apparatus. Sonnet cheering me on or leaving? Somebody tell me. Okay. Okay. So, so again, that is just the world that we live in. As we look at these changes in technology, and we always wonder what happens when they start on fire, and how do we react to that. Something that's gotten a lot of play in the news, and I'm sure you've heard about, is these electric vehicle fires. And while per capita, for lack of a better term, per 100,000 vehicles, it is less likely that these EVs will burn. But when they do, the lithium-ion batteries that are in these vehicles, we cannot put them out with water. There is a chemical chain reaction that goes on in that battery. There is no way for us to stop that chemical chain reaction. It is going to go on until it decides to stop. So essentially, it has to run out of fuel in a full-size electric vehicle like is in that video, that can take up to 7 days. So we have to combat that as well. One of the ways that we combat that is you all approved in our operational budget this year some fire blankets. So we have large fire blankets that we can wrap these vehicles in, and what it is doing is not allowing as much oxygen to that vehicle. So we can slow the chemical chain reaction by taking the oxygen away. The water is not going to have any effect, and we can actually either get it on a tow truck and get it fully submerged in water, or it has to sit out by itself for 7 days until that chain reaction is finished happening in that battery. Electric vehicles is just one of the new battery technologies that we are dealing with. We all have a lithium-ion battery probably on our body right now. We all have them in our house. Most of us probably have some sort of drill driver. Mr. Tankersley probably has one in his chest. Yeah. You started it, sir. You know, so how do these things react, whether they're in a fire or the cause of a fire? Again, we do look to other incidents across the country. We do study them, and that is part of our training. And part of why we are training so often. Does everybody remember the good old days when you could work on your own vehicle? You know, it's no different in the fire service when we think about, you know, what used to be a very simple vehicle burning is no more. And the same is true when we're on auto accidents and we have to do extrications. Again, we used to be able to pull that off with 4 or 5 people. Well, now we have to assign at least one person to doing nothing but sitting at the computer, because now we need to know where the airbag deployment system is. We need to know where the high voltage wires are. And we can't just cut a car up the way we've always wanted to in the past. And the last video I have here is a large warehouse. We have a lot of tilt slab sprinkled buildings in the city of Sharonville. And, you know, we talk about serving our different customers differently. Well, the best thing we can do for our customers that own and manage these large tilt slab buildings is to prevent the fire in the first place. And thankfully, our Fire Marshal and Community Risk Reduction Division does an incredible job with that. If there is a fire, managing the sprinkler systems is frequently how these fires get away from the fire department. Those folks were not properly trained in how to manage that sprinkler system. It is not like in the movies where a single head goes off and puts the fire out. That sprinkler system is actually managing that fire, and we have to know how many pounds of pressure that system is getting, how many gallons of water is it flowing, and how many gallons does it take to put the product out that's inside. So we train on these large tilt slab buildings with sprinkler systems, and one of the things we train on is getting our firefighters to slow down. And good luck getting a bunch of firefighters to slow down, but we need to let the sprinkler system do its job. And we're now not looking at the risk profile so much in terms of life, we're looking at the risk profile in terms of business loss. So if that sprinkler system is going to do what it's going to do, and we just let it go and do $1 million worth of damage to product, that is a lot better for that business owner than $20 million worth of building loss. So those are, you know, just to give you some idea of why do we train so much? Why do we think the way we think? Why do you see so many fire trucks on a run on the highway? Why do you see so many fire trucks at the simplest building fire? And this is why. Our whole world revolves around what happens when something is exposed to fire. And as technology changes, we have to look at those changes and how that works in the fire service. So, that concludes our video presentation of the night. I do want to just quickly go over, you know, what 2023 looked like in terms of run volume. We made 2,503 total fire responses, 3,409 EMS responses. So our comparison, we are actually down a little bit from 2022, which was an all-time high for us. This represents, we're down right around 8%. I'm not quite willing to call that a trend yet. It almost feels like a 1 year off. Now with that said, 2022 was some of our highest volume by far. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking around 16%. So we might be evening out. I don't know. We'll see what happens in 2024. And as you can tell from the number of people that weren't here to get sworn in, we're off to a great start. So this is our run volume by hour of the day. We're constantly looking at this to see where we want to, if we want to shift staff, where we want to shift staff. And obviously during the business hour, when we have that large business population here, is our highest volume. However, we do also look at national statistics and the highest probability of having a structure fire in a building that is residential, whether that's an individual home, apartments, hotels. The likelihood of that is greater at night. So while our run volume is down, the likelihood of a fire where somebody's sleeping is greater at night. So those are all things that we take into consideration as we plan and where our staffing is. And this is our run volume by day of the week. So no surprise that we do pick up during basically normal business hours, if you will. It is interesting to see what happens on random on Wednesdays. I don't know. Maybe people have slowed down at their businesses on Wednesday and are picking back up on Thursday and Friday. So that just kind of gives a snapshot of when we are the busiest. And the last message I have is I love talking about the good folks at the fire department and how they constantly look for ways to serve the community. Ryan Shupka, who is the president of our union, and the E-Board got together early in November, decided that needed to make a visit to St. Joe's Infant Home. They got a hold of the caregivers and got a Christmas gift, an individual gift list from all 48 residents, and took them all an individual gift, had Santa there, and just what an awesome event. Those kids at St. Joe's have taught us so much along the way, just by us making runs there, and boy, what more they have taught us when we visit them on Christmas with Santa Claus. And so thank you to the union for setting all that up and getting the people there, and frankly getting Santa there. So it was just an awesome event. So with that, I am more than willing to answer any questions that you may have, or you can say I've taken up too much of your time tonight. Nobody wants to be here till midnight, and I would understand that too. Mr. Cox, yes, sir.
Chief, I have one question. So when you say the runs, are they separate, EMS and fire, or do fire and EMS sometimes go together, or are they always a separate ratio?
Sometimes they go together, and that falls under our national reporting requirements. So we don't always send a fire truck on EMS runs, but when we do, that has to be reported as a fire truck response. It's a 300 code in the national reporting. So when you see that run volume of 2,500 runs, about 50% of those are a piece of fire apparatus going to assist an EMS unit. Now, a good percentage of those are auto accidents. We automatically always send a fire truck on auto accidents, and then some of those would be so the remaining would be our more serious EMS runs for our patients who are multiple stories up or larger in stature, things like that.
Thank you.
Chief, I just want to say to you and the remaining crew that's here.
A few that stuck it out.
Yes, sir. And you guys do a hell of a job. And I commend each and every one of you with all of the training that you do. I mean, I've been going by watching the training taking place down there at the White House there at the corner. I've seen a couple other departments down there using it also for training, and I'm glad that's able to be shared. But hats off. You got an outstanding crew. Welcome to the new people, and keep up the good work.
No.
All right.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you.
Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
information.
Thank you all for being here.
You guys are welcome to stay. You're welcome to go. We appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
There's cake at the firehouse. I don't know if they're staying.
Love it.
moving on,
I'll finish. my
sir.
report. It's okay. I got more report to share.
Yeah, absolutely, please. Mayor has another report?
So the rest of my report this evening, obviously this morning, we had a wonderful time celebrating our employees for their hard work that they do throughout the year, as well as recognizing some folks for their years of service with us. It's just remarkable the number of folks that have such strong loyalty to the city. We celebrated 7 people with 25, 30, and 35 years of service. So John Eichelbacher, who's walking out the door right now, Justin Smith, Eileen Foster, and Tammy Slater celebrated 25 years with us this morning. 30 years, Keith Schoonover and Amy Williams. 35 years, Randy Bernhardt. So a great group of folks there. We also had the opportunity to recognize with over 50 years of service. There seems to be some issue with when his service actually started and when it breaks up, because actually it looks like he was appointed to council for the first time in 1971. But we, for whatever it is, our records indicated he had 50 years last year, and that would have been Paul Cattleman. So we celebrated him. I don't know if everybody knows, but Paul has submitted his resignation as our chairperson of the Civil Service Commission. That will be effective at the end of June, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm in the process of trying to find someone to fill those shoes and fill that role. So we're looking forward to not looking forward to it, actually. Paul's been a great resource from that end. So we're sad to see him leave. But there is an opportunity there. This afternoon, there was a meeting of the Hamilton County Convention Facilities Authority where we approved a change in a document that's existed for about the last decade and a half, or if not more, as it relates to funding that kind of comes in through the county that goes toward the Duke Energy Center downtown and our annual payment to the Sharonville Convention Center and then some. That was approved unanimously by the folks that were in attendance at the Convention Facilities Authority. It really sets up a whole new dynamic as to how that funding takes place. One point of it is very beneficial to us, which is where we used to not get our 1.3 million contribution to our center until Duke Center was paid off and what we call the waterfall. We are now at the top of the payment tree, so to speak, as it relates to the county contribution through county TOT. It's semantics, really, because that money has been there and should be there for a long time. But it's nice to see that happen. But also now the new waterfall is made up in such a way that we hope that, assuming that our county transient occupancy tax continues to grow as it has, and we are now back to pre-COVID times. We actually countywide, the TOT increased by 7% in 2023 from its highest ever pre-COVID in 2019. So it's great to see us back on that track. So assuming that continues to track, we expect that we will have, there's money that is set aside after the funding of the new reinvention of the Duke Energy Convention Center to go toward the Northern Convention Center District. So we're excited. I'm excited about that. We'll see how that all lands as we continue to move forward from that standpoint. But that was a big vote from my standpoint for the region and our convention and meeting plannings. If you have not noticed, I think Jim sent out information regarding the property at the corner, at the split of Reading and Main Street on the north end, where you guys voted to provide some opportunities for Red Knot Homes to come and join us. Unfortunately, that sale fell through due to some environmental issues on the property that have been long time standing. So we are David's actively working with the current owner of the property, the Ohio EPA, to figure out some options that might be available with that they have, that might be able to, number one, see if we can open that deal and get Red Knot to come anyway. But if not there, helping make something happen so that the next person interested in transforming that corner doesn't have the same issues. So, and there are there's some funding available through the Ohio EPA to make that happen.
So we are actively pursuing that, which would be great if we can make that happen. So it would be no, excuse me, additional dollars from us, from the city. It would be coming from the Ohio EPA, so that we can try to continue to look for a way to redevelop that site. We got several sites throughout downtown, not just ones that we obviously own, as well as others that were the folks that are privately holding them are looking to sell those properties that could really transform some significant parts of our city in the near future. So excited about those opportunities that are out there. And obviously, we continue to look for ways, and David McCandless is doing an excellent job of reaching out to those folks and working toward opportunities to capitalize for us as a city on the inventory that's out there and really making a difference, especially considering the infrastructure dollars that we are putting into our downtown area. So that's all I have to report this evening from my end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. So we've had quite a few issues with Duke Energy since our aggregation program switch recently, and I invited Duke to tonight's council meeting and to talk about the issues, and they didn't want to set a precedent of always going to communities whenever there's billing issues, because they happen probably more often than we all think. They did prepare a statement about the issues that we're having that I'm passing out. But we've had issues with people transitioning to IGS, people who wanted to remain with Duke, as well as people who haven't gotten their bills regardless of the switch. One elderly lady called me who is with Duke with balanced billing, for example, that we helped, that Duke told her that she moved. And she has had her house for many, many years, and she didn't move. So those are the types of issues we're dealing with, or Duke's dealing with. It basically comes down to an IT glitch, is what I gather from Duke. And I'll just read this for the public's sake, and I'll ask Anna to post this on social media tomorrow. But starting with the fourth paragraph, basically there were 733 accounts that were impacted, and as of February 27th, 717 of the 733 affected accounts in Sharonville have been reconciled to reflect the correct billing based on the correct supplier change date. These customers will receive their corrected bills as soon as possible. Final resolution for the remaining 16 customer accounts have added complexities, but rest assured that Duke Energy is working diligently to implement a resolution. All customer accounts will be reconciled. Duke Energy is sending the following bill message to customers in the Sharonville aggregation. Customer bill message. You recently received conflicting communications about your energy choice Ohio supplier enrollment status. This is the first billing statement under your community's new aggregation agreement and reflects your appropriate energy supplier. We apologize for any confusion caused. Contact us at 800-544-6900 if you have additional questions. And it goes on. But so we'll post this. It seems like most of the customer situations have been resolved, but it's been quite frustrating for our residents, to say the least. We do not know yet whether, we're still trying to get clarification with whether there'll be a credit on people's bills or if bills will be canceled and reissued. We don't know that answer yet. So, two or three times this week I was reminded how thankful we all should be about how civil council is with one another and with staff. Amy and Bob attended a Saturday morning session, newly elected official training session that I was a panel participant of, and they heard of a community that has a 4-3 vote split all the time, for instance. Another thing I attended was a regional city manager outing that I hosted here, where we heard that council is not always civil with staff members. That was just another example. And then last, just some of our processes that we do that not all communities do. Just something to be appreciative of and not to take for granted. And I know staff appreciates that, and hopefully council does as well. Legislation-wise tonight, ordinance 2024-16, we are asking to be tabled, and the third reading to happen to coincide with ordinance 2024-17 at the next council meeting, because they're kind of related and we have some wording changes for that ordinance. The only ordinance that council is voting on tonight is ordinance 2024-22E, basically a disposal of public works equipment. Council gave Steve the authority to buy 3 new mowers. Those are in, so he's now disposing of 4 mowers to free up space and get some money from. So that's it for this evening.
Thank you very much. I have no report for Council Pro Tem tonight. I will say thank you for bearing with me while I stumble through this, and we'll get to the end. Thank you. Ms. Buhide.
Thanks. Last reminder, there is a public hearing next week on ordinance 2024-17 at 7 o'clock right here in Chambers.
Thank you, Ms.
Next week, not meeting, next meeting, March 12th.
Mr. Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody. I don't have a large report this evening. Our data is through January, and 1 month of activity is not a good indicator of how things are going throughout the year. So just like a lot of other Januaries, we tend to approve a ton of POs, and there's a ton of encumbrances. So our working cash sometimes falls below where we need it to be, and this year's no exception. So it's a very normal thing for this time of year. So so far it's been a normal January. That's my report.
Thank you. Our treasurer, Mr. Irie.
Thank you. As Mr. Cunningham indicated, it's very early on, so there's not a whole lot of data in for us yet. We are 8.33% through the year, so just looking quickly in the treasurer's report for our funds, general fund, the street fund, the fire fund, senior fund, and convention center fund are all at or exceeding the 8.3% through the year in terms of the amount collected. So we're on pace there, and that's good. One other thing to point out is that on the general fund year to date, which is obviously 1 month in, we are $1,041,086 exceeding the receipts exceeding the expenditures. So that's it for the data for the month.
Thank you very much. Our law director, Mr. Lippert.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything to report unless anyone has questions. Thank you.
All right, moving on. We're at residents desiring to be heard before council. We respect it.
Jim Schmidt, 12215 Pickwick. And this is a question for Mr. Lucas. When you mentioned about Duke, the new aggregate program, do we have to actually sign up for that, or is that an automatic? Okay, because I did get a very large, my last Duke bill was a whole lot bigger than before, so I just want to double check. Thank you.
And that's not necessarily because, I mean, everything could be right. Last month was a tough month from the standpoint of electric and gas bills. So, because mine was significantly high. Once I finally got mine, that's been one of the issues is we have several residents who haven't even gotten a bill for the month of February. So, and Duke can't really understand why I didn't get one. But once I got it, I'm like, well, it was significantly higher. So that's not it. But what I would say, and what I think we all need to know, because it shows that the aggregation program is working, if I had been on Duke service and not our aggregate IGS, my bill would have been $30 higher than what it actually was. So it's actually working. It's significantly working for our residents to make a real difference in how they're receiving electric and gas. So that was good news to have. So
this was, my last bill was several $100s.
That doesn't make sense. So, yeah.
I have gas. I just have electric.
You might want to check that. That seems. I'd call that number right there.
Thank you. As always, we appreciate you. Council committees, community development, Mr. Tankersley.
Thank you, sir. No report.
Budget and finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. No report for budget and finance and no report for project oversight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Community services, our next meeting will just be March 6th, Wednesday, March 6th at 4 p.m. in the administrative conference room. That's all I got. Next up, we'll have Ms. Knight.
Hello, how are you? Tonight, I'm going to honor Cliff's Hardware and Paint Supply. They've been in business for Sharonville for almost 100 years. I have so many great memories of going there because my brother and I, like 50 years ago, my brother and I would tag along, more like 65 years ago, excuse me. We would tag along with him, and he'd talk to Cliff's for the longest time, but he promised if we were patient, we would go next door to Hotsy's Pharmacy, who had a soda fountain, and we got an ice cream. So that was my good memories. But I just want to thank Cliff for bringing so many people to Sharonville. Thank you.
Thank you. And last, certainly not least, law and public safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be March 5th, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Administrative Conference Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, rule suspension motion. Is there a motion for late delivery of rule suspension for ordinance 2024-22E, first and only reading with immediate effectivity? Mr. Cook first, Mr. Schmidt second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
All those opposed? All right, the suspension motion has passed. Unfinished business. Oh, do we need a motion to table? Okay. So for the 2416?
Yeah.
Okay. For ordinance 2024-16, is there a motion to table that? Mr. Tankersley, second by Mrs. Sharpshare. Do we need a roll call on that? Voice vote? Okay. All in favor of tabling that ordinance?
Aye.
Say yes. Aye. All against? All right, that ordinance is tabled. Moving on, ordinance 2024-17. That is also tabled at this point, right? It's on the agenda as tabled. Do I need to retable that? No? Okay. Y'all making it easy on me tonight. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, new business. Ordinance 2024-22E, authorizing the Safety Service Director to dispose of surplus equipment and declaring an emergency, first and only reading. Is there a motion for ordinance 2024-22E? Mrs. Knight first, Mr. Tankersley second. We need roll call on that, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshare?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Levitt?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
All right.
Emergency ordinance 2024-22 has been approved.
Thank you. That is it for new business this evening. Are there any other residents, or Mr. Schmidt, do you have anything else to say? Okay, thank you. Are there any other matters to be heard before? Yes, ma'am.
So I have a couple things. I had the pleasure and was invited in a capacity as council member to attend the Eagle Scout Court of Honor of 3 young men this past Saturday. While they don't live here in Sharonville, their troop basically is based in Sharonville, not here, but Recon United Methodist Church. And I just wanted to give them a shout out, Nick Ward, Alex Schwab, and Dylan Coyle, and to congratulate them on all their hard work. And then I have one more thing. Just to let everyone know that St. Michael is having their fish fry. They actually are having 2, March 8th and March 1st, 5 to 7, in the St. Michael cafeteria.
Thank you. I know that's always quite the event, so thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else, Mrs. Knight?
2 things, too. The Reaper Stand opens March 9th, 11 o'clock. And I got I was talking to Trish Roddy today at Princeton, and she wanted me to announce that March 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th at 7 o'clock in Matthews Auditorium, they're going to have free concerts. And March 10th is their Festival of Arts from 12 to 4. It's a day full of concerts, artwork, performances, and entertainment at the high school. And that also is free. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that. Anybody else? Okay. Moving on to adjournment, right? So do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Tankersley, second by Mrs. Sharpshare. All in favor? Aye. All right, so move. We are adjourned. Thank you.